I laugh every time I see the whole "was you."
Guys. Thank you very much for being here. And thank you to my guest tonight for being here, Evil Little McNuggets. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Yeah,
Oh
really
shit.
well, thanks. Been looking forward to this. So we're doing a call that the only time I heard it was on Tiffany Lockhart's channel when she had her channel still going. And I've kind of wanted to do it for ages. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So before we get into it, just as this is the first time I've had you on here, I just want to ask my usual question. So I think I know the answers, but is Lorna virgin?
Um, Excuse me one sec. Yeah, I think he is.
Hmm.
He just like has absolutely no grasp on anatomy, like
Mm,
in any capacity that I feel like is necessary.
yes,
Uh, you know?
I do know, and I agree. I mean, and, I don't think everyone that has lost their virginity has a has a medical degree level of being across the female anatomy, or the male anatomy for whatever, you know, but you certainly need to know more than law, like to have, yeah. I think there are so many reasons, but I think that is a very good one. Um, and how did you get into our little community? I mean, I think you predate me. I think you've been around for quite a while, haven't you?
Yeah, I got into everything right when Ramona was happening.
Also,
So
like
around like
live, like actually in the middle of that kind of thing, like while he was talking to Ramona.
so I wasn't really present for any streams, but yeah, around that time,
Mm.
there were a lot more of the episodes of TCAP that had been uploaded at the time, and I would like listen to that for background music, and then of course you come across like Bass Shaman, and then Ramona was happening at that time, so there were a lot of calls, and then around 2017, 2018, I kind of just found other interests. And 2020, right when the pandemic and everything was happening, I kind of remember that Lorne existed, and I found Babsby videos.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, nice. Okay. Um, and I also wanted to say thank you for the stream art. So tonight's stream art is amazing, and it comes from Evil Little Big Nuggets themselves. So
thank you so much.
thank you very much for that. Um, yeah, so look, we I might just say hello to everyone, and we might just get straight into it because this is a long one. This is about a 2 hour call, and
Yeah.
um, knowing how much I like to talk, I think we're definitely going to need to do this in in two parts. So, um,
Hmm.
but that's good. It's just an excuse to have you on again. So,
Yeah, I'd love to.
so g'day, Unreal SVT and Vast Ravioli and Carrot Gaming, Laura, the art is magnificent, Evil Little McNuggets, Jimmy, Mandy S, Eel Re Chicago accent, Chatchabate Billy, uh, Jimmy, some jealous basement dweller, Carrot Gaming, Mandy S, Turtlehead 2, Conzanton, Humongous, Mandy S, Ramona's Diaper, The Time Machine, Dana Velez, La Senorita, Asbury Brad, Turtlehead 2, I can't remember if I said hello, if not hello, The Ghost of Tony Farmer, g'day mate, Tyler Brasford, Smokey the Cat, Jesse, call Jesse, Sadface09, Kingpin, um, Plant Terror, Horatio Nelson, Cahootin with the Mayor of Italy, Clown with the Knife.
Hello?
You still there?
Okay, I was just making sure because like everything went quiet for a second. I was like, is it my end? What's going on?
Harlan, Dragon Words. Who else we got? Um, Vegan Munster, Upgrade, um, Logan W. Dark Atheist, Munklefucker. I
I love
always
that
love that
name.
name, Drew B, Anthony R, ADD, um, Winnie's boyfriend slash husband, Kathy Mack, and Ma'am Yes Ma'am, and Egbert, and Matt Ryan, and April the Berserker and Pedro the Great, and Eel 3, Revenge of the Chits. Another name change. Um, cool. I think I got everyone there as usual. Yell at me if I missed you out. But yeah, let's. Oh, Cornwall Counsellor. Cool. Let's jump in. Pussy Destroyer as well. So, in terms of context for this, and like, it's been a long time since I have listened to this one, and I think it's the same for you if I remember correctly. But like
Hmm.
context for this is Lorne is talking to Debbie, and that like Winnie is you know all messed up, and so basically Debbie is pretty much running the show now. Um, and
Did
in
Uncle Clayt have her all fucked up?
Yes, all fucked up, and then that in this whole kind of not taking over Winnie's life, but basically being kind of the conservator of her life while Winnie's having these issues, she has possession of Winnie's phone, and she's found something quite disturbing on that phone, and so this is the conversation that follows. So just whenever you want to talk, and I'll pull. Enjoy that. It gets pretty
Talks to
dirty.
me and about her problems, and she just doesn't go into detail about a lot of them. But then there's time, most of the time when she doesn't want to talk about problems, she just wants to have fun, and
Hmm.
she's so special.
She's so special and awesome because she's special, essentially.
She's so
Ju-
special with the way that she is with me.
that's the quote I was looking for exactly. It's like so ridiculous the way he says this. There's no context to it. It's just and everyone is special. Every one of his girlfriends is special. Um, and I'm not trying to be harsh, but I don't really think special is the way that I would describe Winnie. Winnie is pretty messed up.
Well,
Um,
she's special in her own way,
she
I
is special in
suppose.
her own way. Yeah. And I suppose you could describe her as special in that kind of way. And g'day, Bog Moses Jones and Fox Stuff and Dean Fulford and Vexy. Your notifications failed you. They're, fucking YouTube again. But no, look, we've only been going for about 10 minutes. So you haven't really missed much. We've just started the call, and context of the call is that Debbie has found some disturbing shit on Winnie's phone, courtesy of Lorne. And the only other things you missed was Evil confirming that Lorne is a virgin. So good stuff. And g'day Sigmund, long time poster on the forum, but a new three-wayer. Been enjoying watching your streams. Yeah, mate, I'm glad you could make one live, and welcome to the newest three-wayer. G'day Gorilla Spawn, and also Misfit71, and Org Ramen, and Witcher.
And that's why I was hoping that you guys could be friends. I mean, she's a child on coke.
I know, and it bothers me because of the way that she acts. Sometimes it completely throws me off.
Wait,
And
hold
that's
on one
because you don't
second.
know who
Yeah,
you're
Mm-hmm.
dealing with.
Okay, Debbie just said she's a child when she's on coke. Is that like, is she trying to call him like a pedophile? Like, Winnie's a child on coke, and I know you like children, Lauren.
Uh, Maybe it's interesting. I didn't take it that way. I think yeah. I think she's just saying like she's very immature when she's on coke, but it could also be, and I mean really, the choice of words, it could lend itself to that, isn't it? Like, it has.
Well,
You go.
go ahead.
No, you go. You go.
Well, I was just gonna say I meant it more so like a subtle dig,
Yeah.
not outright calling him out.
Well, yeah, and I think you are probably right because Debbie was very good with the little digs, getting in her punches.
Yeah,
And you
exactly.
don't know how to deal with it. Like I said, you have a lot of this anger from things that you've had happen and that you've lived through. And that stuff, it hasn't been resolved at all.
Well, some of it's been resolved. I've gone to therapy for it before. Then probation took me out of therapy, and we got a new probation officer, and they thought they knew all this crap that was best for me. And my therapist didn't agree with them pulling me out of therapy, and I didn't agree with it either because that was the one person that I trusted was my therapist.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Out
you
of
could
everyone.
bullshit her.
And so now it's like I trust Emma to talk to Emma about things.
Mm-hmm.
And so Emma's helped me through a lot of things, and because my therapist hasn't been there.
She got you out of
And
patterns.
I wish I had my therapist back so I'd be
Just
able
like
to talk to her
Ramona,
about
it's amazing.
Yeah, you can't
nothing I
name
can
any
do
of the
about
patterns
that.
though.
Well, that's not important. The important thing is the cliche thing he said. So don't ask for clarification, Evil.
That's fair. I have to wait 3 years
Yeah,
first.
Well,
I did. I forgot about the 3 year buffer. So I wonder if he's sitting there, 3 years later and going, "Oh God, where's Ramona's number? I can tell her what those patterns were now. They've just come to me."
Oh
maybe
yeah,
that's
yeah, for
something
sure.
that can change in the near future. Maybe it's something that you can explore with your probation officer. And, maybe it's something that you guys can talk about and say, listen, I'm really having a hard time. I'm not where I'm supposed to be at this point in my life.
Yeah,
There's way too
well,
much going on in my
all
head
she wants to
that.
do is all she wants to do is get me through the sex offender treatment class. Because the
Mhm.
last one I was in for 4.5 years. The reason I was in there for four and a half
Yeah.
years is because everybody in that group spent a lot of time talking about things that are happening in their life and things that have happened in their life. And
Mhm.
that's
No,
why
the
it took
reason he
so
was in there for
long
4.5 years was
to
because he
go
kept
through all that.
resubmitting the same answers.
Yeah, which he'd been, told that they're not acceptable. Like you're not actually getting the point here. Like, and it's just, yeah, and he can't see that. And do you know, is he actually still in his class now, or because he was
So,
suspended at one stage, wasn't he?
so, Reborn in the Sunday with Cod stream said that he was in a type of treatment.
Hmm.
I suspect that he is no longer in rape class, but he is still in a form of treatment.
Yep.
But I don't think he necessarily passed. I think they may have like kicked him out because he wasn't passing.
Yep. Yeah. Right.
And I was completely all done in the books. I was, as far as the sex offender treatment, I was done with that. It's just until the council signed me off, they wouldn't let me out of it.
But and
So
I don't know the ins and outs of sex offender treatment, but surely it has to be more than that. Like he talks about it, like you get through the book and bang, you're good, you're good to go. Like surely the sign off is not just completing that accurate, like not accurately, but completing it to their desire, but like engaging in the class and having that person running a class feels like that you do actually understand what you did was wrong and you know have mitigated the possibility of happening it again. But he just thinks, oh well, finish the book like it's a colouring book. Like I done it all and I kept it all between the lines. So see you later, guys.
Yeah, exactly. And he doesn't get that you have to like understand what you're doing because anybody could lie and
Mm,
fill it out to satisfactory uh conclusion. That's not the word I'm looking for, but whatever. They could make it look believable.
mm,
That's why it's so important that they have like the in-person session so that the instructor can tell that they're genuine about
yep.
their recovery. But he's 87, so
He is. He is. And some of the assignments that Blue Boy has put up, like they're horrifying. His answers, especially the one that it blows my mind, where the the letter from his victim,
Oh
where
God, yeah.
he honestly thinks that she would have any care or consideration for the apparent hardships in his life that led him to do it. Like he is so delusional when it comes to that. And you see that time and time again. Like you see it in his stupid fucking book Taken Abroad, that he thinks he's victim that he is about to murder and bury is going to have any concern about what led him to do this. Like he doesn't have touch with reality a lot of the time. And that's
Yeah,
what I
and oh,
find.
go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just going to quickly say, like, that's what I find the most scary about him, and I always feel like you could never say Lorne would not do that. Like I don't feel like he ever has, because he doesn't live in the real world, so the limits for other people wouldn't be there for him.
Exactly. And he does this thing where he always does it, where he expects others to be considerate of him without that same consideration for others.
Mm.
But on top of that, he also in his assignments and in his story, they reflect that he thinks that bad behavior is all like an external thing. Like it's all of these outside factors that are just put onto this blank canvas that make a person act this way, which is somewhat true, but like you have to take personal responsibility at some point.
Yeah, you do, and that's one of his biggest issues, is that there's no personal responsibility. And even after all of this, and like all of the, especially when you think about some of the calls with Debbie, where she has really laid it out, and also some of the calls with Ramona, like they made it really clear about how how what you have done is wrong, and all this stuff doesn't, but he still doesn't get it. He still thinks that all this happened to him, not happened because of him. And it's really amazing.
So
This new
Yeah.
probation officer pulled me out of that class and put me in with a new guy that didn't know a thing about me. And this new guy in his class, all he wants to do is just the book. He wants to stick right to the book. He doesn't want people wandering off and talking about their personal life and all that stuff that's going on with him now. He just wants to stick right to the book, but everybody in that class has to do theirs too. So I'm not the only one in that class. So what's supposed to take a year to a year and a half takes a lot longer because there's other people in the class. But see, that's where
Wouldn't it take longer if they
having
have
my
to take
therapist
extra
would
time to
really
talk about their own personal issues at the moment, though?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that doesn't make any sense. Well, he's 87. Of course, it doesn't make sense.
See, you do the same thing I do all the time. Like you try to make sense of it, and then you go, "Hang on a second, this guy's a half-wit." I'm trying to apply logic to someone unlogical, but it is still fun to do. I mean, I do really enjoy trying to figure him out. And can you
Well,
imagine
sometimes,
being his therapist?
right? Like, oh my
Oh,
God, he can't tell the truth. So you know whenever he comes in that you're only getting maybe a fourth of what actually happened.
yep.
And then on top of that, like if you're a woman, he's going to try to flirt with you. And then you have to try to mitigate that while also not pissing him off.
Mhm. Absolutely.
continue to help me because I go there and I trust her to talk to her about things that I don't talk to anybody else about.
So about the first class that you were in for 4.5 years, what is it that made them say that you needed to be in another class? I mean, you've already completed your book, and then they said you're not done yet. You have to go again. So what does that mean?
No, she didn't say. The counselor didn't say that.
Well,
That's
somebody
when
did.
I want
The
to.
person who had to make that
Yeah,
decision said no,
yeah.
that you needed to continue when everyone else goes on.
I got a new probation officer, and my new probation officer changed everything around that my old probation officer had me doing. I mean,
Is that the
she
probation officer
literally
that he thought was gay?
changed everything. She took me.
Uh, was it Bryce or Bryson? Was that?
I can't remember his name, but I just remember him talking to Ramona about how he thought that his probation officer was gay because he like stood funny or some bullshit like that.
yeah, stood funny, and because the way he wore his hair, like, and then yeah, went on. I think you're right. I think that is the same probation officer, and he, said that basically made him feel uncomfortable, like feel uncomfortable in the way that he thought he was hitting on him, which is so ridiculous. And he's another one of these homophobic assholes that assume all gay people want to fuck them, like, whereas that's not the case. Like your sexual orientation, that doesn't mean that you just want to go around fucking everyone you see. And if his probation officer was gay, I can assure you, you are not on his. You know, I mean, no, like at the end of the day, no one wants to fuck your lawn. That's what it comes down to. So
Well, I
gay,
don't think
straight,
that's true.
you think someone wants to fuck him?
Well, I think he would be very attractive to the sea lion community.
You don't think they would rule it out?
I think he'd be a 10 out of 10 if he went.
Well, don't tell him that, because I don't know where sea lions, where their habitat is, but he might just go and fancy his chances. Just go down on the beach and lie all sexy and just see what happens. Just just see what happens.
She want my therapist to let me go.
What happens on the beach stays on the beach.
Yeah, exactly.
Contract for seeing her. They changed around the counselor for the sex offender treatment class that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
Took me out of that one, put me in a new one with a guy that I don't even know, that I never even knew. And to this day, I still don't trust him. So I just go in there and I stick to the book. He wants people to stick to the book, so I stick right to the book, and I've already completed the book, and they just want. I mean, I literally have to go through the whole thing all over again. So it won't be
because you didn't do it right. Because you weren't honest in your answers. Like, he frames it like they're just fucking with him. Like, oh, we lost your book, Lorna, you're going to have to do it all again. Like, and it would have been made clear to him where he was going wrong and what he had to fix, but he just refused to.
Oh, well, yeah, because, all of the instructors and whatever, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Lorne knows exactly how sex offender reform works, and he knows that he's correct, so.
Mm. And I think a lot of this why he won't engage, and Tiffany made the point at one point. I don't know if it was as Debbie talking to Lorna or on a stream or whatever, but like this, he will not admit to what he has done, and like he won't admit that he's a pedophile, because that's the last thing that he's holding on to. Like, he thinks that as long as I never admit that, people don't know what's going on in my head. So I can say, no, look, despite all the evidence, I know what I was thinking, and I know what I was going to do, and I wasn't going to do that. So that's like the last, if he ever admits that, it would feel like he's lost. Which I think that is very true.
Well, I remember at one point he tries to make the distinction between pedophile and hebephile, and he says, like, I'm a hebephile. And it's like, nobody gives a fuck what the difference is, Lauren. You still wanted a little girl.
Absolutely, and that is one of those ones where, and it happens a lot, where I was just floored when I was listening to that. Like, you really want to play semantics on the age of the child you're wanting to molest. Like, this is not going to work out well for you. No one's going to go, oh, okay, so you only have attraction to people over the age of 12 or 13. Well, I mean, I don't know the exact distinction between pedophile and hebephile. Well, that's okay, Lorne. Keep going.
Yeah.
Like that was just like, I can't believe you're doing this. Like, this is disgusting. but it really should we be surprised? And g'day Michael Rodriguez and Alison Marie Armstrong and Fox Stuff and Clover. I'm a little bit behind on my greetings here, everyone. ADD, Julia Weingartner, Dr. Cassandra Mate. Hello to all of you lovely people that have joined.
Years, but because it's just sticking right to the book.
And so Ellison in the chat just asked, "What the fuck is a hemophile?" Do you like? I mean, it's obviously just around the age. Am I right in saying like a pedophile is like 12 and up, I guess, and hemophile is below?
A pedophile is prepubescent kids, and a hebephile is pubescent, so like 12 and up, like 12 to 16, 17-ish.
Yeah, okay. Really, what is the difference? And g'day, Lady Kazuha.
How much longer is it going to take?
I'm hoping it'll only take another year and a half. So
Okay, so it's going to
trying
be like a 2.5 year class now?
about a 2-year class. So I've only been there for about 6 months now.
Oh, wow. So it'll be like 6.5 years.
Yeah, total. I've had to do. I will have had to do the book over 2 times.
Does this book have pictures?
No, it's all. It's all. Yeah, no, it's all assignments.
Okay.
Assignments of dealing with your past and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where that first class that I was in helped me out so much, because the counselor would actually allow people to talk about, their past and what happened to them, and things that they were going through now.
Mm-hmm.
And she showed more care than what this one here does.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not real trusting of guys like I am women.
So what do you think you're learning out of this class?
Out of this class that I'm taking now,
Even the
nothing
one
different
before?
than I learned in my first one. The one before, I'm learning a lot about. I have a hard time saying no to people, and that's my biggest
Can you
problem.
please pause for just a second?
Yeah.
This always pisses me off so much, because there has never been a moment that, like, I can remember of Lorne doing anything for anybody else, like, as a people pleaser. He never does it. It's always like, it's always something for himself. I've never heard of him doing a favor for his mom because she needed something. It's always like his own bullshit.
Yeah, and and he says, people pleaser, like when he was a kid and all that kind of stuff with his older, brothers and sisters who he idolised them and that. But like you say, there's never really any things about it. Like the only thing he's really ever kind of said that's tangible to that is that, he bought them, $700 worth of heating or all this kind of shit, and they didn't give him the mac and cheese and that. But even that, like, that wasn't a selfless act, because to try to please them, because he expected something back, and that's the crux of his whole, like, what he thinks is an excuse, is that I did this for them and they didn't do anything back, even though he prefaced that as that, look, this is a Christmas present or whatever, if you don't want to get me anything, don't get me anything, but if you do, give me mac and cheese and shit. But he is never done anything selfless that I'm aware of, at least. There is always.
Well, for like the thing with that is, even then it was transactional, because he expected the deviled eggs and meatballs and stuff in return. But also, like, I call bullshit on the $700 worth of work. He probably, like, I can't remember who said it, but there was a stream where somebody was like, I bet that he went in there fucking unannounced and like worsened their septic system.
Yeah.
Made it cost more than the work that he actually did. And then passive aggressively was like, oh, I could really use some deviled eggs, if you want to repay me, but you don't have to, and then got mad when he actually didn't get it back.
Yeah, well, that's right. And I mean, all of his worky stuff, like he talks about, I've done all this work on Uncle Clay's house, and he should give me rent relief because of that and that. Like, everything he does would have cost money rather than saved it. Like, I mean, if you look at all of his workmanship, Uncle Clay would have had to gone in there and paid someone to come and fix up the damage he had done. But he also does this all the time too, where he values his time ridiculously. Like, he'll say, oh, I've done, like you say, $700 worth of work. Well, what are you basing that? How are you quantifying that? Like, at what hourly rate are you charging yourself out? Because what you think you're worth, based on if you had a thriving septic business or were a carpenter, as you claim, is different to the work you're actually doing.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
I have a hard time saying no because I don't like saying no to people.
And
Like
why
me,
would you?
I'm a people pleaser. Is basically what it comes down to.
Okay, so if you go below that, I mean, because being a people pleaser, just like I was talking about drinking, is just a symptom. So if you go
Yeah,
underneath what it means to be a people pleaser, what is that about?
being a people pleaser.
Yeah.
That's that's kind of how I wound up getting in the being in this thing.
Well, what I'm saying
Because
is what is the root emotion that comes along with being a people pleaser?
I, from basically from when I grew up, because I wanted to please my older brothers and sisters,
Right, but
brothers and
what is
sister.
underneath that?
What do you mean? What's underneath it?
If I were to take a guess, I would have to say that it's insecurity. It's about not
Yeah,
feeling good enough. And when
yeah. Basically, you're right.
that leads people to do things, it leads them to, no matter what the question is or the request, what's more important to them is that somebody likes them.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know what your question is, and I know what the answer to it is.
Okay.
But but it's going to sound odd to you.
Okay. I can take odd. Do you remember who my sister is?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
uh, okay. See, when I was in grade school, I was one of the most popular kids,
Okay.
and and I had
And
my
like
best friend.
I feel bad like when we laugh at Little Lorne, but I really don't picture him as being, one of the most popular kids. Like, and
Yeah.
it's weird that he says that, and I'm not saying anything that because he wasn't. I mean, I wasn't one of the most popular kids. I'm sure a lot of people aren't one of the most popular kids, but why? What makes him believe that he was? You know?
You know what I think it is? This used to happen to me a lot in school.
Hmm.
Um, I People would bully me by pretending to ask me out. They'd be like, "Oh, Nuggets, like, do you want to go out with me sometime?" And I wouldn't understand what was happening, and I would like politely decline, and then they would like laugh with their friends, and I had to have someone explain to me like, "No, they're doing that to like make fun of you." I bet that's what happened to Lorne. Like people were like being friends with him as a way to like make fun of him without him realizing it.
Oh, that's awful. Oh.
I mean, it's whatever.
Wow. Look, and I think the whole thing about the basketball team and that as well. Look, I think that probably is right. I think a lot of it was making fun of it. Like he just and you see this throughout his life and in like his books and that kind of shit. He doesn't seem to understand relationships. Like he doesn't seem to understand like genuine friendships. Like he talks about the basketball team, like they were all devastated. Like I don't think they would have given a fuck. Like but
Hmm.
he just he takes things wrong. Like he's he'll be like, oh that person was gawking at me. They're probably gawking at you because you look pretty weird and you act very odd. Like that's why they're gawking at you. They're not looking going, holy shit, what a stone cold fox, get in my bed. Like that's not the way but that's the way he perceives it. Or if someone is just friendly to him, like just standard friendliness, he would take that as they were coming on to him. Like it's I think that's caused a lot of issues for him.
Yeah, he has no concept of relationships and friendships, especially. I mean, Jenny from Walmart probably like looked in his general direction and he was like, "Oh my God, she wants me.
A
She
hundred,
wants this crooked dink."
100%. Um, and I think that's what courtesy that he would get from people employed to be courteous. He would take as wow, just calm down, lady. Like we're in public. Put it away. G'day,
Yeah, exactly.
g'day, Pee Wee the Great, and yeah, well,
Was
yep, well,
a guy named Tony. Not the same
Dan
Tony that I
Jones.
go see now. Is completely different Tony.
Okay.
But and I played basketball, and I was good at basketball. I was the only one that in sixth grade that made the basketball team for the whole middle school, which was fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth.
Okay.
And so it was me as a sixth grader, and then there was seventh and eighth graders that was on the basketball team. And
Oh my God, this is the
so
basketball story.
I played.
Oh, how lucky are we? This school has everything.
Played in sixth grade,
This is my favorite,
and I
like,
played in seventh grade.
weird bullshit reason that he became a pedophile is the basketball story.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, I mean, I do love the mac and cheese and all that kind of shit because it's so bizarre. But this is just odd.
Started half games in seventh grade, and then my eighth grade year. You still there?
Yeah.
Okay. My eighth grade year, I decided not to play basketball because I wanted to make my own money to buy my own clothes so that my mom wouldn't have to. Because she had spent her life being devoted to us kids and making sure us kids had everything that we needed. And, she'd go without things. And I just wanted to be able to buy my own stuff so she wouldn't have to buy it for me.
Right.
So she'd have more money to spend for herself. So
You're such a good boy, Lorna.
the kids in the school didn't like that I didn't play basketball, so they basically shut me out
Okay.
because I didn't play basketball. So the rest of the time through school, I remained quiet and just kept through school and
Go through school.
still had friends, but I didn't do anything.
Why would they shut him out because he didn't play? Like, if they were actually friends, like, there wasn't, the whole relationship didn't depend on him being in the basketball team. And like, because that's the thing too, like, it's a team. Like, if you're playing basketball, it's a team sport. So, you can't just sit there and go, you're a fuckhead, mate, get out, because you need him to pass you the ball, you need him to pass the ball and try to shoot if he can. Like, but that's not a friendship. Like, that's not like, unless that goes from that, like, you're hanging out with it afterwards. But it's just this whole thing. Oh, I ruined their chances of winning the big game or the championship or whatever, and they hated me for it.
Yeah, and that's just, I mean, that's all bullshit. But also, like, Lauren is not the type to work well with others. If he were to play basketball, he would be the type that would hog the ball, wouldn't pass it to anybody, and would, like, try to shoot all the baskets and then cost his team points because he won't, like, play the sport.
Yeah, like once again, he reminds me of like early Michael Scott. Just he would have been like that on the court where he's just stealing every ball, and then when it doesn't go his way, having a massive tantrum. Because
Oh
I
my
could
God.
definitely see him having a tantrum on the court, like if they're not throwing him the ball.
Oh, totally.
Hey, g'day, Sean McClure and the Save Me one, and Stanley Johnson.
Those friends at
Ano-
school,
Mm-hmm.
I'd go.
What were you gonna say?
Sorry, I wanted to say really quick, that like whenever I imagine Lorne as a kid, I don't really imagine like a child. I just imagine like shorter, stumpier, like 50-year-old Lorne.
That's a great image, running around on the basketball court with his horseshoe haircut and and his baggy shorts, like like the stuff
His
he wore to the Sting, like.
Yeah, his little salmon colored tank top.
Pass it to me.
Home and do my own thing. And, I'd have friends in the town that I lived in, and I'd do things with them, but I never did any after school activities with the kids at school, my friends at the school. So, that's always bothered me because it showed me how much those friends were really true friends when they shut me out just for not playing basketball.
They were
Well, you have to
12 Lorne.
consider their age too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I know.
Good point.
But
Dude.
it's still when you're young like that and that happens to you, it's completely different because when you tell somebody that you're going to be your friend, you actually be a friend to them. You don't you basically don't say, I'm going to be your friend if you act the way I want you to act. And
Right.
that's
And
how I felt that they said that.
right. Absolutely. During those years, we kind of start to formulate our position, with other people in
Yeah.
relationships, and we start to understand them a little bit better as much as we can. And it's not going to be in the most mature way. So we're going to think, how am I going to fit in? I want to fit in.
See, that was a problem with me because when I didn't play basketball that 8th grade year and they shut me out, it's like I didn't want to fit in. I
Okay.
didn't want to have anything to do with them.
Okay. So now you were what, 12 or 13 at the time? How old are
Yep.
you okay, so you're
Close to
about
be
13.
13 or 14.
Okay.
Hello?
13
And
or 14.
now you're almost 50 years old.
I'm almost 48.
Okay, you're almost 50 years old.
I'm almost 48.
Okay.
I don't want to say 50 yet.
Okay. All right, fine. You're almost 48, which is almost 50.
Oh, God.
The thing
You're
is,
still going to throw that in.
the thing is that it's been so many years and you haven't gotten out of that.
Well, that's kind of due to it happened to me again, all over again when I owned my septic business. My own family members used me pretty badly.
Okay. So you have a pattern of this.
Yeah, I was trying to please people, and I hate that.
Okay. So that came out of your insecurity of wanting to fit in. So you
But
have the
it's
kids who rejected you with basketball. You had your family reject you. Actually, a way to avoid having rejection from your family, you gave in to what they were asking for.
Yeah.
And it was making you feel good. You were feeling good.
I
Not
was
just
feeling good
by,
thinking that I was helping them.
if I were to make an assumption here, I would say it made you feel good that they were giving you attention.
Yeah.
That you were pleasing them and it was making them happy. And then that only goes on for so long. And so
Yeah,
you're
I
going to be
know.
searching for a lot of different situations that are going to give you the same feeling.
I don't want to search for those situations. And see, that was something about Winnie though. She never asked anything from me.
She's not in a position to ask anything of you. People can ask all they want.
I know, but I like that she didn't ask anything from me. She just wanted to spend time with me.
What I would say is, something that I think is something you should think about, honestly, is that you need to stop being a fucking baby.
I know.
Goddamn Tim.
I'm trying to not be a baby, but it's like I've spent so much time thinking about other people, and that it's like sometimes I just want the other people to leave me alone. They can't show that they care about me too.
Your definition of them caring about you is giving you attention. And when they don't give you, and I'm just talking, I don't know your family or your other friends, but thinking from my sister's perspective, the behavior that you were looking for was really unhealthy because you wanted her to be obsessed with you.
But no, I didn't want her to be obsessed with me. But I didn't want her to tease me. That's what got me. Because she would tease me about other guys.
And you said that it went on for
Cornville, I think you might be muted.
months.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I kept
what
trying
does
to
that
figure
say
out
about
why she
you?
would do that. And I don't know. You have to help me out on that one.
I think that you're desperate.
I don't think it's that I'm desperate. I think it's that I liked her. And
When was the last time you had a girlfriend?
About her, it's been a long time.
Okay.
With the exception of the whole Ramona thing, which was over the internet crap.
Okay, so again, we have
that.
something
Really
over the internet.
messed up.
Okay. So there's another situation that you were in that's just like this in a way, with someone that you don't have with you. You're not able to build a relationship with them. You're doing it over the phone. So
Yeah,
when
that
was the
was
last person that you dated, that you went on a date with, and that you were interested in getting to know? When was the last time that happened?
it was before I got incarcerated.
So that was several years ago, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So since then, it sounds
If you're
like
talking,
you're
I can't
saying it's
hear
been a real
anything.
shit show.
Yeah.
That you haven't had female companionship,
Yeah.
and you're kind of grasping for whatever you can get. And that's meaning people who are either reaching out to you, somebody like Winnie, as precious
Can you
as
hear
she
me now?
is, she's an asshole.
I can hear
I know she
something.
can be, but she's just special.
So sorry, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I don't know what my headset was doing there. All right, sorry everyone. In all those muted times, I made some of the best points you're ever gonna hear. So a shame that they've been missed because they were just on point. Trust me.
I would agree with you on that. But she's also not this girlfriend material that you're trying to force her to be. I almost
Okay, yeah,
fell
they
out of
can
my
hear you
chair
now.
when she said fiance.
Yay!
I
As much
mean,
as much as I hate to say it, I know you're right. She's not girlfriend material right now because she can't be anything to anybody right now until she's got a grasp
Yeah,
on
because Anson, this is my show now. I'm
what she's going
hijacking
through.
Cornbill's
yeah, but
channel.
she may never have a grasp on that.
I know.
Okay.
Uh, it bothers me.
And you're
Well,
right, Ramona's diaper. I should have banged it on the table. It would have been fixed a lot quicker. I've learnt nothing from Lorne. G'day, Chris Bromelo, and Lulu Bop.
it's sad for her, but at the same
I know.
time, she can have a happy life.
She doesn't deserve to have to be like that. She doesn't deserve to have these problems.
No, she doesn't.
I really hate that she has these problems.
Oh,
Really
here comes the
sucks to see her
tears.
go through this crap.
Oh my god, is he gonna cry?
Lorne, are you crying?
Yes.
Yes. It's so good.
It's very, very painful.
Yeah, I tell you, friggin' some of these last 3 or 4 months that I've known her, or 2 or 3 months that I've known her as her, some of it's really spun my head. And I wondered, it wasn't until just maybe a month ago that she told me that she has schizophrenia.
Hmm.
And I paid attention to it, and it made sense to me because of the up and down way that she would act. And
Oh, here comes psychologist Lorne.
when I was incarcerated.
Oh yeah.
And g'day, I like to remain anonymous. This is Evil Little McNuggets on with me, not Michelle Simpson.
Hi.
They did not play Michelle Simpson.
I wish I had
Jail.
gotten to play her.
Yeah, I mean I can you do sound a little bit similar, I guess. I can see how they got that, but yes, no, it would have been a fun character to play. G'day, Lord's mother Gwen's twink toilet. I saw you in Bapsby's stream there. I saw you cheating on me.
The guy was actually in the same jail cell that I was in at, and he was also in one of the prisons that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
And he had schizophrenia, and he had a mild case of schizophrenia. And he said the way that he deals with it is he walks around and he'll touch his thumb onto every one of his fingers so that he can concentrate on that, and instead of his schizophrenia, letting his schizophrenia make him do weird things.
Right.
So,
What the fuck does that even mean?
People do weird, different things to deal with it. To see Winnie go up and down and different things, and it bothers me.
I know. I can hear in your voice that it hurts you.
She's so special. She doesn't deserve that. I know you probably think it's fuck. Sorry, I'm crying. Okay.
Okay.
I know you think it's probably all that I could care for her so much
Yeah.
with an over the phone relationship,
Yeah, I do.
but she's just special. Especially
Do you think he's
recently,
naked right now?
seeing her go through all the.
I think he is. I think he is naked. Yeah, at least at least down to his underwear or whatever. Like I mean, and to be honest, I always think Lorne's naked. Like I don't think he. I think he goes to work or whatever, or works around in his fucking yard, and as soon as he's back in, the clothes come off. I mean, really, he admitted that much in the Kayla chat log. Like, basically, he was mad because his neighbours were coming over and he knew he couldn't get naked yet. Like,
Oh my god.
it's
I imagine him there like sitting in his chair, like sniffling, trying to squeeze a tear out,
yep.
fiddling with his dink.
Oh yeah, I think he'd always
Debbie.
be playing with that. Mm. Oh, she's so fucking special, baby. tears, tears, rolling down onto his man boobs. He'd be doing all
Not the man boobs
that.
with his little curly cues.
much like the art tonight. I think that obviously he's not screaming at the moment, but I think that's basically what Lawton would look like during this call.
Crap. Oh God, it's so fucking hard to see you go through that shit.
Well, to be perfectly honest, you weren't making it any better.
No, not when I got drunk.
No?
I knew that definitely wasn't making it any better.
So that's why I had to put a stop to it.
As much as you think I might be mad about it, I'm not mad about it because I'm happy that you're there.
Oh, bullshit you are, you liar. And g'day, Jake Fisher. Yeah, I'm glad you've caught your first stream. And Den, he's my man. G'day to you and edamame. But that's what he goes. Oh, he's happy about it. He's not happy about it. But also, like, isn't it amazing how much he is opening up to Debbie here? Like, basically, their involvement so far is she basically hates him. She thinks he's a terrible influence in her sister's life, and she's gone out of her way to try to limit that. That's all that he knows about her, and he is just opening up about everything right now. He's got no shame, no doesn't hold anything back.
Oh yeah, well I think he's just, he's realized that he can't do anything with Winnie right now, and who's the next closest woman to her? It's Debbie. And his way of flirting is to talk about how I became a pedophile.
Yep. And I think it's that, and I think it is also like he did when he told Dan about Casey's sexual assault, and then she basically said, "I want nothing to do." There was that whole performance with Emma where he was crying. He loves her so much because he hopes that will go back to her. Like, he hopes that Debbie will hear this and feel like, oh, he's so devastated. Maybe he is good for her, and at the same time tell Winnie, oh, he's so upset about it. Because that's the whole performance with Emma in that call, was about hoping that she would go back and say, Casey, he is a broken man. You need to get back and fix him.
That's one area where I think Lorne is kind of not smart, but less stupid. Like, he's not a good manipulator in terms of like actually doing it, but he's really good at like with his techniques. Um he knows how to kill two birds with one stone, essentially. Like, he's laying the groundwork to manipulate both of them, just not very well.
Yeah, exactly. That is a good point. Like, he has the intention, he just fails at pulling it off. And g'day, Dinosaur Tornado, VA Hoss, Horstus F Dink MT. Den's Jeans, Mike Pence, and Tracy Hamill.
I'm happy that you. I can't really say I'm happy that you cut her phone off because I've missed her a lot today. But I also understand too.
I don't want you to just be saying all this.
No, I'm not just saying all this. It's hard for me to see what she's going through. I mean, when she's fine 1 minute, and then the next minute she's acting out and doing off the wall things. She's had me on the phone with her when she was in the shower, and she'd be stepping in her shit.
Jesus.
I'd be telling her, Winnie, don't do that. It's gross. It's unhealthy. It's not sanitary. Don't touch your shit. And she tells me that she shit in the shower. Don't shit in the shower. Shit in the toilet.
So weird.
And
Don't touch your shit.
Wash your ass after when you get in the shower. So hard for me to see her doing that stuff.
Dan's Jeans.
She never sent you a picture of her shitting, did she?
No, she sent a picture of somebody shitting a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't her.
And I have to ask, and don't take it the wrong way, but you didn't do that, did you?
No.
Okay.
You fucking liar.
Are you sure, Lorne?
No. No, that's the last thing I ever want to see is somebody see shit coming out of my ass.
Yeah, that would be disgusting.
Probably
I
should
would
take a
be
picture of it.
absolutely fucking livid if I found that out.
That's rather nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. He was hella dehydrated when he took that
nasty.
picture.
Hang on a second. I can blow my
Drink
nose,
some
okay?
water.
Okay.
I have a headset
And
on,
he would
probably...
be constantly dehydrated. Like all he drinks is beer and coffee. Like he would be in a constant state of dehydration.
You want to hear me?
And
I'm surprised
Dr. Cunt.
Okay.
I'm surprised he doesn't describe being hungover as much as you would think, given that he never drinks water.
Absolutely. Like, he must just feel awful all the time. Like, I guess at this stage, he wouldn't know what it would feel like to be well. Like, unwell would be his constant state. Like, if people that aren't Lorne drank like he did, ate what he did, lived like he did, they would be chronically sick all the time. But he's like, I think that's just, he's used to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, that's gross.
So, let me ask you this. So the picture that I did see on her phone.
Of what?
Of somebody shitting.
No, that weren't me.
Mm.
Weren't me shitting.
Okay, because it had your number on it.
There it is.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that
It weren't me shitting.
that you wouldn't do that.
No, it wasn't me.
Okay, that's good.
Hey, you
Because
listen to his little laugh there. Like it's clearly him. He does that little laugh when he's lying. And g'day,
Yeah,
Sheffrey.
it's the same like shitty camera quality. It's the same like background as his bathroom. There's no denying that it's his picture, and yet he still sits there giggling like he really got her fooled.
Yep.
I mean, not only is it disgusting to send a picture of you taking a shit, but I mean, you should have seen the toilet. Just everything about it made me sick. I almost threw up when I saw it.
No, that was a picture I had gotten from somewhere else. Someone else had sent me a long time ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Who would send you that?
You'd be amazed at the pictures that I've gotten when people find out my numbers.
Why did he keep it?
That's why I changed my number so
That's
often.
right. It's another one of these lies that he tells that makes no sense. Like, as soon as you think of, like, if someone I mean, why would someone send that to him, and why would he keep it? For the first place, why would he keep it? So if someone sent that to you, you would just delete it, because who would want that on their phone? But then why would he send it on to her? Like, if that is the excuse, if someone did send it to him and for whatever reason he decided to keep it on his phone, why is he sending that to her? Like, how does that, and really, how does that make it any better? Like, at the end of the day, the issue here is you sent my sister a picture of someone shitting, whether that be you or something else. So it doesn't change anything.
I think it makes it worse if he sent a picture of somebody else shitting.
Yeah, I mean, because at least if it was you, you could, say that that's a sign of trust. But if it's someone else, there's no trust there.
I trust you so much. Here's a picture of me shitting and my social security number.
From the internet, wind up finding out my numbers, and they send some fucked up shit.
Oh, okay.
So I changed my number. I've had to change my number often. So please don't give my number out.
Oh no, I'm not gonna give your number out.
Exactly, Sigmund.
I have no reason to do that.
As
It's kind of
As Sigmund says, this is like Lorne saying someone randomly sent him CSAM on Yahoo in 2007, which is exactly right. Like, it's almost the same story. Like, people aren't going to randomly send you this. Like, A, with the shit, because it's just weird, and B, because it's like no one is going to risk getting caught for something if they don't know who they're sending it to. But he seemed to think, people will believe that people are just going around handing out CSAM like it's candy. Like, he's a fucking idiot.
I mean, that's what all of those predators' excuse was whenever they were called out for having CSAM, like at the sting.
Yeah. Yeah, just sent to me. Like, it's just bullshit.
weird that you had that picture, though. If it's something that somebody sent you a long time ago, that you would still have it.
Well, it was in my memory. Remember, I was able to pull it back up.
Oh, yeah.
So it was in the memory of the phone. So on his cheap ass burner phone, it apparently was able to store this cached in its memory, and Lorne the 87 not only was able to retrieve that, like something that forensic data analysts study for a long time to learn how to do. Lorne was able to do that, but even if you accept that version of events, he went to so much effort to do that. So how does this make this any better? Like, I went to so much effort to make sure I could send your sister a picture of someone shitting. Like, okay, that's even worse now, Lorne. I'm even madder at you. Like,
what the fuck, baby? What the fuck?
Deleted and
what the fuck?
it was pulled out. But anyway, it was people sending me some fucked up shit.
Yeah. Make sure you do like a hard delete on that picture. I had to do that with hers because I'm not going to have that on her phone.
Yeah, I think what I got to do is take it into Verizon so Verizon can tell me how to delete a lot of things. I'm not computer savvy.
Oh, okay.
So
I wonder what they're going to think when they see that. They're going to say, this guy has a picture of a dude taking a shit on his phone. That's weird.
Well, I'm not really going to show them that picture. I'll pick some picture that isn't quite so off the wall and have them show me how to delete it.
And nothing of my sister.
Something permanent. No, I don't have any. Even the picture that you and her sent me of you two naked, I deleted that off my phone. I deleted.
She sent you a naked picture of me?
You did.
No, I didn't.
You remember when you and me and her were on the phone that first time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought you guys were just messing around.
No, you both told me that you had a picture of you both together,
That's not
together naked.
That wasn't me. It couldn't have been me.
But it didn't show your faces. It just showed your bodies.
Well, that should tell you. I would never allow that. I would never allow that.
Okay.
sometimes I just go along with what she says because it's easier. When she's, trying to talk to somebody that's having delusions, you can't just tell them that what they're saying is wrong or it's not true or anything like that. I mean, sometimes there's no point in that. When you're dealing with somebody like Winnie, it's a lot easier just to say, okay, whatever you say.
Yeah, but she's definitely said and done some awful things.
Right.
It's hard to see her in the hospital.
You're only seeing a small snippet of it.
I know. I hate seeing her go through this stuff.
Just so that you're aware, I did request all of the phone records from the phone company, and I'll be getting them soon. If there's anything that you need to tell me.
About what?
About anything that you've said, maybe that is, I don't know, particularly abusive, any text messages, photos, stuff like that. She did send me the videos that you did. I was not impressed.
Well, of my videos?
Right.
No. That's bad judgment.
The fact that you would feed into how inappropriate she is sexually.
That's something that I always found. I found it odd that she was so sexual. That's the way I've always been with her. I didn't know anything about her schizophrenia. I'd send her a lot of nude pictures, yes.
But you send everyone lots of nude pictures, like trying to pretend now that well, I only did it because she was sexual with me. Like you sent Ramona heaps of them, even when she said basically stop sending me pictures. You still did it. You've got a disorder in regards to that.
Yeah, and another thing too that I think Lorne isn't really even aware of is how much he's taking advantage of a disabled woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's schizophrenic. She clearly when she's on coke and stuff, she's not in her right mind, and he takes advantage of that whenever he can to talk sexual bullshit with her.
Absolutely, and I don't think that would even enter his head. In his mind, he'd be going, oh well, she's overage, so I can't be doing anything wrong. So, but incapacitation or anything like that wouldn't phase him. And g'day, Desir3, and Renegade Debate Life. Hello to you all. Lawn to be wild.
Videos.
Why?
Just recently I sent her videos.
But why are you sending her those pictures?
Because she'd asked for them, but I never knew anything about her schizophrenia until recently. I never knew anything about her sickness until recently. I mean, all I knew was that she was going into rehab and that she had a drug problem.
Okay.
And that was the only thing that I knew. I didn't know anything about all of this. That's why it's all bothering me, because I never knew the truth about things. I didn't even know that her real name was Winifred.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's Winifred. Don't call her Winifred.
Winifred.
Okay.
Well, see, I still didn't even have that straight. That's why the whole thing bothers me, because I didn't know the truth about everything. And it's like she didn't even want to tell me that she had schizophrenia.
Of course. I mean, I'm still deciding whether or not I'm going to seek a permanent order. And that's why I had to have my attorneys, start requesting records and things like that.
Well, I'd rather you just leave me right out of it, because then I don't want to deal with my probation and having to answer questions to them. And I'd just rather step away so you can take care of her.
Well, if they're just text messages and stuff like that, I mean, I don't know what it says yet, but what would that have to do with your probation? I mean, this has to do with Winnie and how
I know,
and how she's feeling. So what would it have to do with your probation?
And I would just rather the whole thing be concentrated on her, and me just step away, and just every now and then, if you can just let me know how she's doing.
I'm a little confused, because if you haven't done anything against your probation, you don't have a problem, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because right now you're kind of telling me that you're not, you just want to back away and you're going to walk away when before you were holding on so tightly? What would make you just change your mind like that?
Well, because I've thought about things, and one of the things that you've said about winning, things that Emma has said to me, but and also I wasn't supposed to send her naked pictures. I'm not supposed to receive them. I can't stop people from sending me things,
oh, so that's what you're talking about, your probation.
And I had, yeah, and I had feelings for Winnie, and so I gave in to sending her pictures. But there's nothing I can do.
So you went against probation?
Yeah, I did.
Why would... Okay.
Have a good one,
I
Farmer.
wanted to make her happy.
You wanted to make her happy, so you were willing to just sacrifice yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty stupid. That's why I tried to avoid
Stupid to do that.
internet relationships after Ramona. And then when she came to me as Casey, I wanted to figure things out of what she really thought about staying and all that, because I thought it was Casey.
Oh. Well, what would she, if she's just the person that was there, what would she think about it? I mean, would you really want to know?
I don't know now. Now I don't know. Then I did want to know.
What did you
But
think
now,
that she thought?
after all this, I don't know. I just reaching for anything and everything that I could find out about perverted justice and the things that they did, and whether she really thought that I was an actual predator. And just, it's very confusing to me, because I don't know what I was looking for an answer. But I wanted her to say, no, I didn't think you were a predator.
I don't think that would have
But
happened.
you are.
No, probably not.
No.
Now that I look back on it, and I think more about things, I probably wouldn't have. And that bothers me a lot, because I know what I did was wrong, and that it's not something I've ever done before, never wanted to do either. When I left Maine, I went down to Nashville. It was really a quick thing, just so I could get away from family and friends and being used. So, like, rash decisions.
Okay, so you ran away, and you went to Nashville, and then this happened.
Yeah. And I was in an adult chat room, and I felt bad. Nobody was talking to a 13-year-old, and I wound up.
Oh, we're looking for an adult
At
girl.
the time that I wound up being able to be turned around and start talking dirty to her. Shit that I've never done before, I did. Never had a hard time dealing with that.
Not talking to kids, you mean?
No, I've had a hard time dealing with what I did.
Okay.
Because it's not me to do that. I've always protected kids, and that's why I've had a hard time dealing with it.
When the fuck did you ever protect kids?
I know about the show.
Exactly. And that's it. Kids aren't asking you specifically, Lorna, for protection. The best thing you could have done if you want to protect kids is not try to molest them. Like, that was all you had to do. Like, you didn't have to be a superhero, go out of your way to protect them. Just go out of your way not to molest them. But you couldn't do that. So you saying that you've always protected kids is just craziness. Like, it's not even. It's just crazy.
I think that Lauren's idea of protecting kids is not allowing anybody else to predate them. Like, I totally think that he was a super creep with his nieces and stuff, but he felt that he was protecting them by not allowing others to creep on them.
Yeah, I do think that's a great point. I think you're right there. Like, he and because he tells that story about how he got so mad about, that, a guy was talking to them online and that, but he doesn't hold that same regard for himself.
Never did.
Yeah.
It's
G'day, 180
It made
degrees.
me incredibly sad. Not for you, but that it was even happening. That, what would have happened.
yeah, I know. Think about that a lot.
And the one thing that I immediately thought of was, okay, so you're in this chat room, there's this girl, and nobody's talking to her, and you just figure you're going to. At some point, it turns sexual. And,
Yeah.
I guess we could, look at what turned you on about it. But another way of looking at it is, how did it not turn you off?
I don't know. 'Cause I remember I had times of saying to myself that I need to stop talking to her. And even the night that I went to the Sting House, I wasn't gonna go there because I was supposed to go out. It was my birthday, and I was gonna go out to the bar, to the karaoke bar with a neighbor, with a friend. And I wound up going to the Sting House. And then halfway to the Sting House, well, it was a little over halfway. I was gonna turn around, even on the median, and go back home because I didn't want to go there. But the median went downhill and back uphill, and I didn't know what was down there, and it was dark, and so I said, I'll just turn around the next exit and go home. And the next exit wound up being the exit of where the Sting House was.
I think you're just telling yourself a story.
No, I actually remember the whole thing.
Shut the fuck up, Lord.
Yep.
Started thunder and lightning in the distance, and Bud was my dog. Bud, he was home. He was scared of thunder and lightning, and that was another reason I was going to turn around and go back. So if you paint me a picture as a bad person, I'm not a bad person. I did a bad thing.
But
no, okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, you go. You go.
Well, I was just gonna say that, like, if anything, that makes it worse that he abandoned his dog that's scared of a thunderstorm in order to go kidnap and rape a child.
Exactly. You literally said exactly what I was thinking. Like that. This once again, this is another one of those stories, like the story he told about, he's a great friend that was going to buy him beers all night for his birthday. You were trying to say it as an excuse, but you've literally made yourself worse. You like once again, you were saying that his desire to go and kidnap and rape that child was stronger than the fact that he knew his dog was at home, scared to death of the storm. So he was able to just overlook that because he wanted to do this so much. Like that makes it even worse somehow. And
He doesn't see that.
No, and I don't get what his point is. Like that, and I think what he is trying to say in all of these stories is that he was having second thoughts. Like he's trying to say that I was having second thoughts about it, and perhaps he was. Like I'm sure even an asshole like Lorne is going to be thinking, and not that I think he was having second thoughts about the damage he was about to do. Like I don't think that concerns him at all because I think he's completely selfish. So if he wants something, he's the damage that will cause isn't going to affect him. But I also think that he thinks, well, we were in love, and so even though the law says this is wrong, we were in love, so this isn't wrong. That's his mindset. But he was probably having second thoughts of the fact that, am I definitely not going to get caught? Like, is there going to be cops there? Although that was what his second thoughts will be, but that doesn't change anything. The fact you're having second thoughts, you went through with it, it still doesn't make it any less. And that's why I think he was so excited when he got there and he saw Casey there calling him in because, we know from the outside footage that, he went down and he did a bit of a turnaround and that kind of stuff and came back because I think he thought, I have everything in place. I've had her deleting her archives. We know that her parents are away. So he thought he had the perfect plan and he's going through his head on the drive. And I think that's where the nervousness comes in. Like, he talks about he was worried about this kind of thing, has second thoughts. Well, he's remembering how he felt because he's thinking, okay, Lord, you have nailed this plan. The only thing that will fall through here is if someone has managed to find out and the police were there. In his mind, he thought the jig will be up if I get there and there's cops sitting outside saying, okay, Lorne, come over here, mate. So he saw no cop cars and he saw her and he's like, it is on. And that's why he was basically skipping in there, because he's like, there is nothing to stop now. And that's why he was so shocked when Chris came out, because he thought he had ticked every box.
Yeah, totally. He thought that, that his plan was successful. Another thing that I think, Lauren has just such Hallmark brain that I think the thought of forbidden love it makes him fucking giddy,
Mm-hmm.
He's excited to have his movie like romance, and that comes in the form of Kayla because she's forbidden to him.
Yes, and that is true, and that's another thing he did talk about in the chat log, where basically, like, I can't remember exactly how he worded it, but he basically, like, we can't be together right now and this kind of stuff, and people would think it's weird and that. So it's get that whole people would think this weird, but we know it's different. This is forbidden, but we know that our feelings are real and all that kind of shit. And g'day, Philip Waller.
Well, I can see what you and my sister have in common.
What?
You both tell really good stories, and it's very dramatic.
You can call Emma right now, and you'll hear the same story.
I don't need to call her. I'm talking to you.
Okay, well, I've never changed my story.
It's not a matter of changing it.
You have changed it several times. And g'day, Jenny from the block.
Somebody convinces themselves of something, then they can be consistent.
Well, no, I'm actually telling you about everything that happened that night. If you watch the video, you see me going by the house and then turn around in the next driveway and going by the house again and turn around the rotary and stopping. So because I didn't really want to go there.
So then why did you? And be perfectly honest. Just spit out the answer. Don't say something rehearsed. Don't say something you've said in your class or however you've tried to explain it to people. Why did you go then?
Don't give her a go-around answer.
I don't want a go-around answer. Do you love me? Define love.
Do you care about me?
That's right, it was care about me, and then she's like, define care. That's right.
Know the answer.
I don't know the answer all the way yet. I'm still trying to figure it out.
What is stopping you from not knowing the answer? What's the part of the answer then?
One part of the answer is because she was alone at the house and nobody was there. She was 13. And the other part of the answer is that I didn't want to go there.
But
there's still so much to try to figure out.
Are you mute again, Precious?
Am I
there
mute?
You are. Okay.
I'm good?
No, I can hear you now. It might have been on my end, like a skip or something.
Nah, sweet. But that is, bullshit. Still saying he didn't want to go there. Like, how did you get there then? Oh, it's just like the way he talks about this sometimes is it's like as if the scenario was that, he hadn't actually gone, but because he had said everything he had said and exposed himself, they came and arrested him. And he's kind of saying, hey, I was never going to go there. I didn't want to go there. Like, but you can't just go somewhere you don't want to go.
I mean, even then, like, had he never intended to go or anything like that, he still committed a crime.
Yes, and that's the biggest thing that he misses. Like, if he'd already done the crime. I mean, there was additional crimes that he was planning to commit in that being kidnapping her, taking her across state lines, obviously the actual physical sexual assault. So there was other things he was planning to do that he didn't do, but the crime was done. And like you say, he'd already done it. If if he did, if on the day of it he kind of got up and he really kind of come to think about what he was planning to do, and he wrote to her and he said, look, I know we've had these plans, but I can't do it. I can't go through with this. I'm sorry. It wouldn't change anything. If the cops had found out, they still would have arrested him. He has still done those crimes. He had still exposed himself to a minor. He had still, done all that shit about experimenting and that. But he would never get it. He thinks that the fact that he showed up, that's the only thing he did wrong, which is pretty scary.
Absolutely.
And as Shin says, oh my god, as Shins says, he thinks there's some profound undiscovered excuse to explain his behaviour, which is exactly right. And especially in the calls, I can't think of the name of the call, but the really long one he has with Debbie, where he keeps saying, I need to figure out why. Like, there's nothing deeper, but he believes there is. He thinks there's some core excuse that explains it all. But
Go ahead.
no, I'm done talking.
Oh, I think it were Bunky.
You think it was Bunky? It was all that, fucking Bunky. I hope he's happy, Probably still sitting there with the toy, just laughing at Lorne, that his master plan came off, If he didn't steal that toy, everything would have been fine. So,
It's really the butterfly effect.
yep, he's an evil kid, Bunky. G'day, Ghost of Artbell.
That's why I'm mad about not having my therapist, because she was helping me figure this stuff out.
Do you know how many of the other people said, I just wanted to check up on her because she was alone?
No, I don't. I didn't pay attention to anyone else.
Okay, there were
I was
plenty.
trying to figure out things that I did and why I did and what made me.
And do you know why they say that?
Why?
Because they don't want to be the monster.
Well, it's a monster thing to do, period.
Yeah. The whole thing
That's something I'll admit. Yeah,
okay.
it was.
Okay, so then stop with the whole, I was going there because she was alone and I wanted to be a good guy. That's not even part of the story, so just erase it.
There's things about it I'm still trying to figure out.
Well, there's things about it that you're not being honest about. So it's not a matter of figuring it out, because you already know the answer.
G'day,
And the answer is very, very difficult because you don't want to admit that you're that guy, but you were that guy. And that's what I mean. A lot of the guys would make up these stories. Oh, she was alone. I was worried about her. I just wanted to be her friend. I'm not one of those guys. I know what this looks like, but it's not that. And this is one of the things that is disturbing when it comes to Winnie. She does the same thing. There's difficulty with truth because it's painful. It's painful to say, I had an attraction to this girl.
Yeah, but I still didn't know how I can get an attraction to her. I mean, there were like 5 different pictures of different girls. It wasn't even the same girl, and I saw it, but I didn't see it, and that's why I'm still trying to figure it out. And it doesn't make any sense to me why I didn't see it at the same time that I saw it, and what made me still go there.
Because the idea of her being real was more compelling. That was where the compulsion came in. The chance that there was this person that you were talking to, that you actually did talk to. You're like, well, I've seen different pictures. She doesn't look the same, whatever. But the idea was that she was this girl who was home alone that you've talked to for a very long time. So she was somewhat real. And it just created this perfect opportunity that you could go there and you could do all of the things that you were talking about. And I didn't go through and read this whole chat log. But what I do know from what was mentioned on the show is that you're talking about marriage with her too. Talking about that you love her as if she's a woman and you treated her like a woman.
She were an adult girl.
Yeah, you got lost in it.
I was wanting an adult girl. G'day, Diava Swan.
And that's the thing that you have to be honest with yourself about, is that you were attracted to this 13-year-old.
Yeah, but what was I attracted to? Because I never saw a real picture of her.
You saw
But
what you thought were some pictures.
that's
You
right.
talked to her.
You were attracted to the pictures of the young children that you were shown. Like you were attracted to how submissive she was and how, you know, basically she just let you do whatever you want. Like that was what you were attracted to. Like just because the actual little kid you were shown wasn't the little kid you thought you were talking to doesn't change anything about your, you know, tendencies.
Yeah, I mean, she was the sexy little thing by the pool. He
Mm,
was completely attracted to her physically.
absolutely. Um, without question. I mean, he definitely has ED. You know, either through that or through his drinking, all that kind of stuff. But didn't really seem to be an issue with him. You know, when talking to kids, it does seem to be his ED does seem to be an issue with him when he is talking to adults, um, which I think is interesting. G'day, Richard Johnson and
You do
Moo
have a
Team.
point there. I didn't. Go ahead.
No, sorry. You go.
I was just saying, like, yeah, I've never thought about that before, but you have a great point there. Like, that wasn't much of an issue when it came to Kayla.
No, and you know, but you know, potentially his ED got worse, but he he definitely has trouble, you know, making it stand up on its own when he's talking to his adult catfish.
Over the phone, she sounded like a little kid.
I know.
And you were so happy to talk to her. Like she was the cutest little thing. It started off, I'm going to sing you a song, and then it turned into talking about how she has to be careful and all of the ways that you're trying to hide yourself so that her parents don't find out.
I know.
And I know you mentioned about her not getting in trouble with her parents, but that wasn't the main concern. The main concern was you. You knew what the consequences were going to be if it ended up exactly how it turned out. So there was
That's
nothing
why I
in
don't.
there. Go ahead.
That's why I don't understand why I did it, because I've never wanted to do anything like that before, and I've never wanted to be in trouble with the law before, and I've literally made sure that I've never done anything wrong right up to that point, with the exception of a DUI the year before. That was the first time I had ever spent a day in jail.
Okay, so there's
Was that
another
when
lack
So,
he,
of
like,
judgment.
drove into his babysitter's
um,
house?
um, I don't know. I don't I don't know what the OU. Yeah, I'm a bit fuzzy on how the whole OUI came about. Like, cause him crashing into the house, that was post. That was post going to jail? Was it?
Oh, was it? I have
I'm
no
not
idea what that
sure.
timeline is.
Yeah, I'm really not sure. I'm sure someone in the chat will know, so please let us know if you do. And g'day Jerry Anthony. But and g'day Alexander Kostic. But this is the same thing. Like this amazes me too, where he goes on about, oh, the only thing I had was an OUI, like as if that they target him because of that. And I think I've said this before because this sounds like a broken record in my head, but he says it in a way as if he thinks they're just going through. Righto, guys, we need to set someone up here to get caught in this sting. Who we got on the books? Oh well, there's this Lorna Armstrong bloke that got done for drinking and driving a few years ago. Perfect, direct correlation between pedophilia and drinking and driving. Let's get him, guys. Like it's just stupid. G'day RKM.
sad thing about that one was I thought I was sober at the time. I just didn't want my
Okay,
brother
well,
walking on the road drunk.
okay, it has nothing to do with your brother. Stop trying to put other people into the equation and adding them to make them the reason for stuff. You do the things that you want to do.
I made the decision to take him home because I didn't want to see him walking drunk on the road because he lived 25 miles away. I tried to get him to wait and not go yet and let me get a couple hours sleep, but he was adamant to go because he didn't want to be there alone with my other brother because he doesn't like my other brother, which is his brother too.
Walking drunk is more dangerous than driving drunk.
Of course, you know you can really do a lot of damage if you walk into someone while you're drunk. Much less
I guess
than a car.
Right. I guess the real question here though is Were Rory drunk or were he drunk?
Hey, yeah, was he drunk or was he drunk? Because that is the key question here, isn't it? There's a big difference. I mean, if he was drunk, I don't see the issue. I don't really understand what everyone's getting so upset about. But if he was drunk, then no
Where you have
good.
to look out for yourself. This is an example.
Yeah, I know.
And it goes along too with, now this was a long time ago, right? When this happened, several years ago.
Yeah.
And your brother was the
the
reason for that decision. And now you're being confronted with this issue of these text messages that I'm going to see, and you know that they were wrong, but you did them anyway. And you're saying because it was what my sister wanted and you wanted to make her happy.
When I've got a pattern doing the same thing.
Yeah, the pattern's been there since you were in middle school.
And if he knew Ramona when he was in middle school, she could have got him out of this pattern. So really, if you think about it, this is all Ramona's fault. God damn it, Ramona.
Fucking bitch.
Fucking Ramona. Worse than Paula.
You're the first one that's ever pointed out to me that the pattern's been there since middle school. I've never stopped to think, like the exact pattern of the whole thing.
Okay, so now you know what it is.
Wanting to make other people happy and not being able to say no.
Again, what's underneath that is insecurity and desperation, weakness. Those are all the things that are underneath that. And those are all the things that no one can ever give you. I was talking to one of my really hot friends the other day, and we were talking about relationships. And one of the things we were talking about was that, in a relationship, there's things that are natural that we look for that we can't have with ourselves. So like things like companionship and the fun that you can have with another person and having these incredible conversations, having someone to relate to, someone that you can look to and admire for whatever reason, whether it's their work ethic or how they treat other people. And then with relationships that become romantic, you can have physical attraction, things like that. And those are all what I think are some really healthy ways of looking for someone to include into your life.
Oh, that's interesting. Sigmund in the chat.
Says...
Oh, here we go. I think we
okay.
both. No, you read it.
He says that Lorne's OUI and crashing into the house is the same incident. It was on August 6th of 2006.
There, okay, perfect. So it was the same thing, and it was before the sting. So well, that gives credence to that they did set him up. They they targeted him apparently because of that OUI.
And then you have some unhealthy ways and some unhealthy things that you're looking for that no one else can ever give you, like your security, your self-esteem, your sense of desirability and how you look. What I've seen in talking to Winnie, and I can predict that it probably has to do with all of your other online relationships that you've had. It's been the same type of a thing, that you're trying to make those other things the foundation of your relationship. Make me feel good. Make me feel that I'm important. Make me feel that you want me and no one else, that you're loyal, that you put me first. I am the top person in your life. Are you listening?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Okay, good. So when you make all of that someone else's responsibility, you're handing over the power of how you feel, because there's no one who is ever going to be able to fulfill that for you. And that's where all the fighting comes from. That's where all the anger comes from if she doesn't answer you right away.
You're making a good point, because I never thought about it like that. And that'll...
Okay, so what is the point that I made? I want to know if you really understand what I'm saying.
That I want to be made feel, that I want to be made like I'm number one, like I feel good, so that I can feel good about me being in a relationship with someone else, so that
Poor
I feel
Tiffany
secure.
tries so hard to get him to understand, and he just doesn't do it.
Just banging her head against a wall, just constantly. It's just I mean, even though this was about catfishing him, that like the amount of effort she put in and just made, so many good points just to get nowhere. It must have been so frustrating. And g'day, Duchess of Cornwall.
Yeah. You're wanting other people to make you feel that way, and they're never going to be able to do that. There's going to be moments, when Wendy says, I love you, in that cute little voice.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to feel good. You're going to feel great at that moment. But that goes away. That's going to fade away. And then you're going to be looking for something else. And then, as a matter of fact, what you end up looking for are ways that she's not fulfilling that for you. So, she didn't call me all day. What is she doing? She's not answering.
Hey, Gregor.
She's not telling me that she loves me. She's not telling me how fabulous I am, or whatever it is that you're needing at the time. And that's where all your anger is going to come from. Why isn't she doing that?
Well, see, no, all of that, I do know that all of that way that I act, when I act like that, it comes from Paula, from when I was on Washington State, the girl that
fucking Paula.
It comes from you. It comes from you. It doesn't come from anyone else.
Well, see, that's what I'm trying to tell you, though, is that Paula was the first one that I ever fell in love with. And I was in person with Paula. I was face to face with Paula. We spent a lot of time together, and she had just gotten out of her and her fiance had just broken up. They broke off their engagement.
Lauren, she blinked at you and you thought you were engaged.
Exactly. And that's what is so ridiculous when he goes on about, he was too young, he didn't want to be married, when he says all these other bullshit, all the one night stands. Like, he is desperate for that. And I don't know the full story about Paula. I don't think there's ever been that much clarity on it. But like you say, I think it was, whatever interaction they had was very brief, but he completely built it up in his head to be something else. I mean, like Nikki with that whole thing with the probation officer or whoever was over there, where he was going, because they were basically questioning about why he has been harassing her, and he was saying about how they're in a relationship and that, and they said to him, does she know that? And he had to admit, well, no, because he just makes shit up in his head. He just gets lost in these romantic fantasies he has.
Together, and we were working towards being in a relationship, and then she wound up sleeping with someone else.
Okay.
And it hurt me really bad for a long time.
33.
Sure, rejection is always going to hurt.
Yeah, and it wasn't something I was expecting at all.
Okay.
And then that's when, that's when I started having a lot of one-night stands with people. Well, not people, with women. And
you had 3 one-night stands with the same person.
and then you see there he's like, with people, or well, not with people, with women. Like, he needs to make it really clear he wasn't having one-night stands with men. Like, it's just, he's so weird about this whole fear that people will think he's gay. Like, would anyone have been thinking that? I mean, he's made it quite clear that, even though I go back and forth about, like, his obsession with whether he is gay or not is very odd. But he needs to get that in there, because Debbie might have been thinking, oh, maybe he was fucking a man in those one-night stands.
I think Lauren's closet is made out of glass. I definitely think that he's, like, somewhere in the spectrum of bisexuality, because he talks about dinks and making a cock and ball out of spaghetti way too often.
Yes.
For it to be anything other than, like, his obsession. Because he talks about Dan's cock all the time. Dan's cock, Dan, and he talks about Will, and he never shuts up about dinks.
No, and I think you are right, and I've been more and more coming around to that he because he is too obsessed for it not to be, and he just needs to keep pointing out all the time. Whereas, like, why does he think that people would be thinking that? Like, I mean, It's just yeah,
28.
he really
And let's
wears
see,
his
because
heart on
I
his
had
sleeve.
left Washington State and came back to Maine for a year, and then went back out to Washington State for another 2.5 years.
Okay, but what does this have to do with Paula?
I hadn't, because Paula was the first time that I had ever been hurt. I fell
But
in love with her, and I gave her all my trust. And
but
All my
again, you're
trust.
making it her responsibility for how you feel.
yeah,
So many people have the same experiences. So many. That I don't think that I can ever meet one person who's never felt some kind of rejection. Everyone's been hurt, everyone's been betrayed at least once. The
see,
fairy tale of meeting one person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with and you're married for like 75 years, that is so rare and special. And the reason for that is because it almost never happens. Most of the time, the reasons why relationships don't work out and stuff like that, especially when people are younger, is because you're still growing, you're still figuring things out. And it's not Paula's responsibility that you feel rejected and that you're still feeling that way. That's not her responsibility.
what I'm still trying to figure out though is why am I still letting it affect me? I mean,
Because it's rejection. And that
Because
is
it's an
the
easy
ultimate
out for you,
betrayal to you.
Lauren.
It's exactly, you hit the nail on the head. That's why, because this is just another thing to add to his excuse box.
That situation made you feel like shit. Instead of saying, you know what, that really sucked. Like, I wish that it could have worked out with her. Okay, it didn't. So I'm going to move on. And hopefully she's going to be happy. She's going to be happy with whomever she's with. And it just didn't work out. Just because a relationship doesn't work out doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It's not pleasant. It's not going to be fun to go through.
trying to figure out all the things I did wrong, and
It's not necessarily just about you and what you did. I mean, you can reflect on that, but try to
G'day,
think
bitter
about
almonds.
this though. What year was that when that happened?
it was a long time ago. And it sucks because it still bothers me. That was back in 2005.
2005.
It bothers him so fucking much.
I love it when his voice is shaking because he's crying. I just love it. And g'day,
It
Jeff
gets that
Gorbachuck.
vibrato.
I actually want to hear that again.
It's not pleasant. It's not going to be fun to go through.
trying to figure out all the things I did wrong, and
It's not necessarily just about you and what you did. I mean, you can reflect on that, but try to think about this though. What year was that when that happened?
it was a long time ago. And it sucks because it still bothers me. That was back in 2005.
2005.
No, not even 2005. That was 95.
95.
Yeah,
It's 2018.
yeah, I know. This long down the road, and I still try to figure it out. That's why
So
I
in this story he's telling, he would have been about 20 when fucking Paula didn't reciprocate his advances. So like, it's a long time ago. I mean,
He's the.
sorry.
No, you go ahead. You go.
Oh, and I was just going to say, look, and I know, things affect people down the track from, when they're growing up and that. So I'm not trying to be harsh there and that, but like, he's still holding on to it so much.
Well, like, yeah, there's a difference between like genuine trauma and like, oh, I had a crush on a girl and it wasn't reciprocated. And he's just like the epitome of those people that will like try to manipulate you in a relationship by saying, I'm sorry I cheated on you. I'm just fucked Reed up because, I was 13 and my first girlfriend was whatever. Like,
Well, that's right. I mean, that's what, this isn't some long relationship they had, which she cheated on him, or it all fell apart and he didn't see it coming. Like, this is an acquaintance that obviously he wanted to have a relationship with, and it wasn't reciprocated. Like, this is crazy to be this caught up on it. And g'day, Dupee's fashion consultant.
I think that's
I love that
the biggest
username.
reason why
So good, isn't
I
it?
started turning to the internet. Because that way I could be close to people and not let them get close to me in person.
So you've never tried to meet up with these
But then
people? I mean, you wanted Winnie to move in with you.
I did try to meet up with some of them. The first one that I ever tried it with was, well, actually, that was a girl from California when I was in Washington State. And I drove down there and met her. But we both decided that we didn't think it was going to work out. And then the next one I met was in Pennsylvania. I spent 2.5 years talking to her on the internet and on the phone, and I didn't drink at all that whole time. No,
Well, she's lucky.
I stayed. Yeah, that was when I was the better me. I stayed committed to her. I didn't go on any dates.
The
nothing.
better Lorne.
And it wasn't until I moved back to Maine to be closer to her, so
G'day,
we
pizza
could see
driver.
each other, that
Lucy Ash.
my sister talked to her on the phone, and she only talked to her for like 30 seconds. And then when she handed me the phone back over, she whispered to me that that Amanda had been lying to, that she was lying to me. And
Do you think it was a male British robot voice on the other end of that phone?
I really hope it was. Fuck off upstairs.
After I get off the phone with her, I got on the computer and tried to hack into her email. I got her
lovely.
password on the first guess. It was Bono U2 from Bono from the group U2.
Mm-hmm.
It was Bono U2 was your password.
Like, I don't believe that. Like, why would he try that? Like, I don't, like, there's something off about that little story there that he managed to hack into her email on the first guess by guessing it was Bono U2. Like,
well, yeah, because it's printer.
and then Kayla Marie. Like, I don't know why, and I might be making too much of it, but it's just like, I'm guessing he guessed, in his little story, he guessed Bono U2 because, you know, Bono and U2, like, U2 was her favourite band, but it just, he's not that smart.
He's not. I think that's just a fantasy that he played out in his head about getting revenge, and then he told it to Debbie.
I do too, and see, I think what happens with a lot of his stuff is that, like you say, he plays out these fantasies in his head, he tells the lie over and over, and he tells these lies to himself and other people so much that it becomes reality for him. Which is a thing, like, you know, compulsive lies, they can be like that, and that's how they can, you know, they have people that beat lie detector tests and stuff like that, because they actually lie so effectively to themselves that they believe it. And I think that happens with Lorna a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, fantasies online in your mind.
Oh, good old down hour. G'day, Wayne Tech 10 and Bobby Gump.
Saw a letter there from another guy that she had met like 2 months before this happened, and she had slept with him. So a couple of pictures of other guys naked, and then where I got really confused was that her name was the name Leslie being on the letter. I'm like, well, who the hell's Leslie? Because I knew her as Amanda James. Well,
shout out.
I called her and confronted her with everything that I found out, and then she went away from my house and up the hill where her cell phone would come in so that she could talk to me, and she told me everything. She said she'd been wanting to tell me for a long time but didn't know how to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And it took 6 months before her and I could completely stop talking to each other, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to continue it or not.
So he claims that, you know, Amanda James was scamming him and, you know, getting Dale Earnhardt merch and that, but he, once the jig was up, he reckons that they still talked for 6 months afterwards. Like, if that the fact, like, how pathetic are you that you caught someone scamming you and you still talk to them for 6 months?
Well, go ahead.
No.
He did that with Ramona, though. Like, she came out and said, you know, I've been catfishing you for all this time. And there was a period of time where they didn't talk, but he eventually talked to her again and was trying to strike up a romantic relationship.
That is an excellent point. That is, of course, Lorne would do that.
Being lied to like that.
So all of this stuff was a really long time ago.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so why is it still here?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, number one, you don't have any way to cope. You don't have any coping mechanisms that are healthy. And number two, you're not honest about it.
Not honest about what? About the
About
story? That's the story.
not necessarily. I'm not
I'm honest.
necessarily talking about details. I'm talking about your reasoning.
But my reasoning for what though?
A lot of what you're saying when the hard questions come up is I don't know and I don't understand. And that's a lie. Because you do. You don't want to admit it. It's going to be difficult to do that, but you have to. You have to be honest in order to start moving forward. You have to say, it's not Paula's fault. It's not Amanda James's fault. It's not all of these other people that have been involved. It's not their fault either. It's not perverted justice or this Xavier Phillip person. It's not their fault. You're putting yourself into these situations and you're not taking ownership for them. And you're not being honest about your reasons.
But all I've ever wanted was somebody that's going to be honest with me about things, not hide who the person that they are.
So then why are you allowing people who are hiding the people that they are? How are you allowing them into your life then?
So I want to give them a chance to believe them, to show me who they are, who they really are.
So you're
I don't know
expecting
if I'm wrong in doing that or not.
Well, no, I mean it's not wrong to want the person that you're talking to be who you're thinking that they are. There's nothing wrong with that. The first clue to you from talking to people online is that they may not be who they are. Amanda James wasn't who she was claiming to be. She has her reasons for that. And any other person that you were talking to from these chat rooms, they have their reasons for not being the people that they're saying that they are, if that's what was happening.
Did you know that if you rearrange the letters in Amanda James, it spells pedophile?
Whoa. You
I know.
You have blown it wide open.
Crack the code.
Crack the code.
Why does it still bother me so much?
Because you don't have coping, as I said. You're not learning your lessons. You're not being honest about the lessons that are coming out of these experiences. You're not being honest about the reasons that these things are happening to you. You're making it other people because of them that this is happening. It's because I was rejected when I was in 8th grade. It's their problem. They made me feel like shit. So therefore, I don't have self-confidence. So now 40 years later, I'm still upset about that.
I know, isn't that fucked up?
It is.
Yes, it really is. And g'day, Rachel D. And so we're about halfway through this call now, and I'm going to need to wrap it up now, unfortunately. I'd like to finish the whole call tonight, but there's still a fair bit to go. So we'll do this one in 2 parts. So anything from you before we head off for tonight, Evil?
I just wanted to say thank you for having me on. Tonight was really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, no, my pleasure, and thank you. I was like I said, I've been looking forward to this, and it's been a whole heap of fun. So we'll definitely do the second part. We'll have a bit of a chat offline about when we can schedule that in, and then yeah, always more than welcome to jump on whenever. This has been great.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. So, and thank you guys. Thanks everyone that's been here. Always so great to be catching up with everyone in the chat. And I will see you again very soon. Don't forget to delete your archives.